I said, are you strong? They said,
Are you just waiting on the loop to finish or what? Oh, you can just flip it over. If it's looped a couple of times, I would just flip it over. We got that guy waiting in the waiting room. I don't care. If
I said, are you strong? They said,
3, 2, 1, let's go. Welcome to Double Fries No Slaw. We've got our first. It's not a pop-up show. This is a scheduled Thursday show. Our first game preview of the year. Game week is here. We will have some answers in 48 hours. I am TJ Pittenger along with Richie Barnes and Freddie Stevenson. Guys, we are getting close. How are you guys doing tonight?
Game week, man. Shoot, I'm starting to get some jitters right now, man. It's game week. I'm ready.
I'm pumped, man. I mean, we got the return of the NFL tonight. We got big boy football coming up Saturday. We got some JV football on the ACC network tonight. What can we not be excited about, guys?
ACC network? Come on now. They couldn't get on ESPN?
They couldn't even get on the U.
Super exciting. We've talked about it ad nauseum. We're going to break down Georgia Tech tonight. We actually have a guest from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Ken Sugiura, that's going to come and join us. Always want to remind you that Double Fries No Slaw is brought to you by Guthrie's in Tallahassee. You can check out their two locations at 2525 North Monroe and 1818 West Tennessee Street. Make sure you order Double Fries and No Slaw and tell them we sent you. Let's go ahead and get our guest on, guys. Let's get started with him, and then we'll kind of get into some other stuff. I will add him to the chat here. Ken Sugiura from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, covering all things Georgia Tech. But obviously we want to talk about football tonight. So Ken, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. How are you?
We're good. I have to start out this way just because we had Barrett Sallee on a couple of weeks ago, and he told me that they just built a Guthrie's in Atlanta. Have you been to Guthrie's? Do you have any experience? Well, this is what's most important to us is these type of questions.
You came out with the hard-hitting stuff.
Yeah.
I'll acknowledge my ignorance here. I don't know much about Guthrie's, and I don't know if there is one. There may well be. I live in I don't leave my little section of Atlanta very often, so I have 3 kids, and so it's pizza and Chick-fil-A for most of our Pizza Hut.
That's not bad either.
Yeah, you're
I'm not complaining. I'm just explaining. Yeah, but I should try to find it, I guess. What you're saying.
Yeah, so Guthrie's is big in Tallahassee, and they've got a lot of locations all across Alabama. It's really big. And then Barrett was telling us that they just built one in Atlanta. I forget where he said because I'm not super familiar with all the suburbs. But if you go and when you go, and hopefully you'll check it out, Chick-fil-A is just kind of they're different, right?
Right.
But when you go, pass on the coleslaw, get double fries, no slaw on your order in honor of us. And then let me know how you liked it. So it is good though. So if you ever had like Raising Cane's or Zaxby's, it's like that, but better. So
okay. All right. I can go for that.
All right. Now, as far as the less important things go, so it's been a long off season.
Yes.
I don't know what the feeling was like up there, but I mean, you guys were probably much like us. I didn't know if we were getting football for a lot of this off season. And so it's finally here. It seems to be going off without a hitch. The ACC starts in about 45 minutes. JV game for us to all enjoy before the real team plays on teams play on Saturday. But what is the off season? Florida State's off season has been pretty tumultuous. We've had some off the field things go on. How has Georgia Tech kind of handled things through the off season? And how do you feel about that with the staff there and everything that's going on?
Well, I'd say it's in some ways it's been kind of, I don't know if low key is the right word, but Tech's approach to kind of being out in the public and being in front with stuff, particularly regarding the coronavirus, has been to, let other people talk and refrain from commenting too much. But as far as just like the testing goes and all that, I think they've done it for the best we can tell, and certainly from what we hear. I think it's gone really well. They've done really well at building the protocols and guidelines. And I think the players and coaches have done what seems like a really good job of following, of staying out of, social gatherings and that sort of thing. So the numbers have been really good. It's been obviously crazy. Like I'm really, 3 weeks ago, I wouldn't have thought we'd be at this point. So yeah, but all that said, yeah, it's, I think it's gone probably about as well as you could hope, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Year two, new regime. Georgia Tech seemed to obviously struggle at times last year, but also was good for an upset here or there, right? Knocked off Miami. We were all cheering for you guys that
Right.
weekend. What are you expecting out of Georgia Tech? Just maybe not necessarily this weekend, but just in general. Do you think they take another step forward? I mean, sometimes obviously it's take a step back to take a step forward, but what are you expecting out of the program in general?
There's a lot of reasons to think they'll get better, and they were 3-9 last year. Really for me, I think you want to see as much kind of qualitative progress. The offensive line blocking better, the defensive line creating more pressure, the turnovers going down, special teams being better. I don't know that that'll result in a significant number more wins, because last year they were 3-9 and they lost a lot of games by double digits, and really that's not even starting to explain how rough the season went for them. So I'm sorry, my daughter's trying to get in the car here. So they could conceivably they could be a lot better and lose a lot of games by one possession and still have a similar record, and you could reasonably say, well, they were clearly better. The record may not show it. I do think they'll probably sneak up on some more people, and the record will be better than that. But I think, like I was saying, given where they were last year and kind of the changes that were needed to be made as they shifted so much between on offense, I think, it's just more kind of, does this look like they're moving in the right direction as much as does the record reflect it?
Sure.
Ken, obviously, man, that first of all, thanks for joining us. We're really happy to have someone who actually knows Georgia Tech football with us tonight to join. One thing a lot of schools did this week, they released a depth chart. Florida State released one. I'm sure you probably get this question for any other outlets that ask you about it. Georgia Tech doesn't have a depth chart. They have what's called above the line. Basically, these guys will play, these guys won't. Specifically, we're looking at the quarterback situation right now. Obviously, Florida State fans know Jeff Sims really well. He was committed to Florida State for a long time.
Right.
Top 250 prep quarterback out of Sandalwood and Jacksonville. Mike Norvell, for whatever reason, that things didn't work out there. He went a different way. Sims went to Georgia Tech. It sounds like he might get the start this week, where he'll at least get a good bit of action. What are you hearing from the quarterback room, and who do you expect to see this weekend?
Well, as far as like access goes, they make the offensive coordinator, Dave Patnode, available weekly, and what he said was, we're not going to say anything until game time. When whoever the quarterback is trots out there. My guess is it'll be Jeff Sims. A lot of players, and certainly Patnode himself, have said a lot of really impressive, kind of noteworthy things about him. Patnode said something like, when everything is right, he looks as good as anybody, which is a lot to say about an incoming freshman. So there's three others: James Graham, who was a starter last year; Jordan Yates, who was a redshirt freshman; and Tucker Gleason, who's from Tampa Plant. He's also another freshman. So it's a young group, but yeah, they've all been competing, and like I said, my guess is, and I'm still trying to nail it down, but my guess is that it'll be Sims who plays, but who knows? Well, I guess things will remain to be seen. We won't know for sure till Saturday.
Cool, man. Yeah, and I like Jeff Sims. I liked him when he was committed to us. One of my favorite videos was Willie Taggart flying in on a helicopter to his high school game to check him out. So I do wish him nothing but the best. So it'll be interesting to see if he plays, if he has that chip on his shoulder. There's one other freshman I want to ask about, who last year, as a Florida State fan, on the recruiting site, one name that kept popping up was a Jamar Gibbs. He was kind of an under the radar running back. Didn't really have many offers early on, committed to Georgia Tech, and then like Alabama, Florida State, Florida all come in, and he says, no, I'm gonna stick with Georgia Tech. that worries me as a Florida State fan, that schools like Florida and Alabama are on this guy. Is he a true freshman? Is he going to be the premier running back, or where does he fit in with that? Because he's a guy I'm really intrigued about.
Yeah, me too. So Jahmyr Gibbs, he committed to Georgia Tech in the spring of his junior year, and then he blew up, on the field as a senior, and that's when all the offers started rolling in. They've got a really good back already in Jordan Mason, who was an All-ACC pick last year. I would just strongly suspect that you'll see at least some of Jahmyr Gibbs, and everything you've heard about him in the preseason was dynamic and really, really talented and all those things. So I think he's significant for Georgia Tech for the reasons you mentioned. I think what's happened a lot in the past is that Georgia Tech might get on somebody early and get a commitment, but then maybe things start heating up and Alabama or LSU or Florida State, whomever, comes in and all of a sudden things kind of change. But it really speaks a little bit or maybe a lot about just the way they're recruiting and the kind of relationships they're building with these kids that, even someone like that who had reasons to check out other places and actually did check out other places, but stuck with Tech, it says something. It might be where the direction the program is. Yeah,
and not necessarily a question, just a comment, and then I'm going to pass it to Freddie. But I was listening to another Florida State podcast today, and Buddy Elliott, he works with 247 Sports, and he hit on Gibbs as well and mentioned that he looks like his acceleration is comparable to a Dalvin Cook. Now, he didn't compare him to Dalvin Cook, but said that acceleration is. And as a Florida State fan, knowing we play you guys week 1, it makes me happy. One, hopefully he's not a part of the game plan, because I feel like he's a guy that's really going to take off towards the end of the year. Right. But yeah, he, like I said, he's a guy I'm looking forward to, and I know Freddie has something for you here right now.
Yeah.
I know a lot of Florida State fans, they don't really know what to look forward to since the depth chart wasn't released. But what guys are you looking to kind of have a breakout game or have a breakout year this season? Who are the guys that look out for in the matchup on Saturday for Georgia Tech?
That's a good question. I guess offensively, Amarian Brown, he had a strong year last year. He's a freshman slot receiver. He had 7 touchdown catches, led the team in receiving yards. Number 2, he's I think he's going to take a step forward. He was 155 pounds last year, and he's put on some weight, so he should be a little tougher, coming across the middle and so forth. The 2 safeties, Wanye Thomas and Tariq Carpenter, 1 and 2. They've also been charged, but I think they're in their second year of a new scheme, and I think they're potentially guys that could really become bigger playmakers. And I think the thing that I really want to see with this team is can they create more pressure up front and get balls out earlier, and that's going to enable everything else to improve and flow better. So those are some names. I don't know if it's a player to watch necessarily, but the offensive line, I think it wasn't that good last year for different reasons, injuries being among them, and they've bulked up and added some pieces. Jordan Williams, the right tackle, he's a freshman, is one, and so that group, whether they can play better or not, I think is something I'm curious to see.
Georgia Tech, that's always the team that plays Florida State pretty well. Like no matter when we play them. I know the last few years we had pretty rough years. What are your thoughts on the game Saturday from both teams? We don't really know what we're going to expect from either team, but we know based off the history, it's going to be a rough game. We play each other pretty physical both times, every time we play. So it's going to be exciting, but nobody knows what we're going to see. Florida State fans, I know we're hoping that we take that next step, and I know on your side, you're hoping that y'all take that step from last year. Nobody wants another 3-win season. So what's your expectation for the game?
I don't know. I mean, that's, I was talking with someone who I think knows Florida State pretty well, and they're just kind of raving about how fast the defense is and then just, how loaded that team is. And I think that's probably true. You just look at their recruiting rankings and you see it's loaded with 4-star kids, and, Tech's building that up, but certainly not to the level that Florida State is. I don't know. I mean, kind of like you're saying, obviously a first game for a new coaching staff, you really don't know quite what's going to happen. And Georgia Tech being his second year, I think they're going to be better. I would suspect it'd be somewhere around the spread, but it really, if it goes either way, if it's closer or Florida State proves a lot stronger, I think the defensive line is probably a concern for Georgia Tech with Marvin Wilson. Is it could go the other way too, and that wouldn't surprise me either.
What does Georgia Tech have in a perfect world or scenario? What does Georgia Tech need to do? What is their strength? What weaknesses do they need to avoid? What if the game is going to play out and Georgia Tech end up pulling the upset on the road? What do they need to do and do well?
I think, like we were saying, I think their run game is strength, and so they've got to hope or count on their offensive line, which, like I said, should be better, being able to control things a little bit and get the running game going. And if they can do that, particularly if it proves out that Jeff Sims is a guy, that gives him a little more breathing room to rely on his teammates a little more. And then, I guess it's kind of like a lot of upsets, maybe the special teams, which really wasn't as good as you would want last year. Maybe they make a play, and then you avoid the turnovers and just hope your defense can do the job for you. It is built a bit on hope, and I do think the both sides should be better for Georgia Tech offense and defense. But yeah, I think a lot of it would probably be Jordan Mason and maybe Jameer Gibbs and Jemias Griffin also contributing and having a really productive game and kind of helping Tech control things.
Have you not to put you on the spot, have you given an official prediction yet? Do you write that anywhere? Do you have a what you think will happen as far as a score or something close to it?
I have not, and I usually don't. I guess I end up being wrong, and it seems like it makes nobody happy when I do that. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of think it'll be close. I mean, I think they weren't very good offensively last year, and so you do kind of want to wait and see if just the progress they've talked about will come to pass, and particularly if you're having a new quarterback, and even if you stay with James Graham, can they be more productive than last year? So I guess there's kind of a wait and see sort of attitude as far as that goes, but I you certainly like to think that Florida State is, because of its talent and maybe because this coaching staff that they have, should be in pretty good shape. So I might lean that way, but it's like I said, I don't think it would surprise me if, just given that it being a first game for a new staff, if things kind of go a little haywire and Georgia Tech benefits from that.
Yeah.
So Ken, I don't want to, I should have done my research here, but were you covering the team back in 2015?
Actually was, yeah. I've been covering the team since 11. So yeah, that was
okay.
That was a bananas game.
So that game specifically for me. So let me just tell you where I was at. I was at a wedding for one of my best friends. I was in his wedding. He's like, so I'm like, man, you have a wedding during football season. What are you thinking? And then sure enough, he's like, oh, who knows what happens? And sure enough, the game's at night. It's at the end of the reception. It's all Florida State. He was the president of his fraternity, so it's full of Florida State people. Nobody on the dance floor. Everybody's just watching the game on iPads. And the game ended the way it did. He listens to the pod. He's a good friend. We talk about it. His marriage has ended since then as well. So I think that says enough. But
they all around, I guess, for Florida.
But no, so my thought, because the last two times we played in Atlanta was obviously that game, the block field goal, unprecedented, only happened the week before with Michigan State, which happens that happened. And then obviously the Marcus Sims fumble. I don't know if you were covering the team or if you know that one back in, I think it was 2008 or 9.
I was at the game too, yeah.
Yeah, so Florida State's going in for the drive. Jermaine Thomas, amazing, has an amazing performance. Man, that heartbreak is just tough. So for me, I think Florida State should win. At least the game's not in Atlanta is where I'm getting at.
Right.
But man, we've had some wild finishes. So I was just curious how long you've been around it and what your thoughts on those. So you've seen 2 wild finishes, those two. And that doesn't even count the 2009 game, I think, in Tallahassee, when it was like 40. When Christian Ponder threw 4 touchdown passes in the first half and we lost.
Wow. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think, particularly the 15 game, just because, Georgia Tech had lost 5 in a row and was going nowhere. And I'm trying because I don't need to rehash this for Florida State fans, but yeah,
I brought it up.
Even,
it's cool.
Even the
Yeah,
ACC
we'll cuss
title
them out.
games, they weren't necessarily as close, but they were really competitive, kind of entertaining games. I remember 12. It wasn't a very good Georgia Tech team, but they kind of did what they did. They ran the option and kept it close and almost had a shot there. And then in 14, that was probably Paul Johnson's best team. And I think, but for a couple injuries, I think Tech would have had a little better shot in that game. But yeah, it's been a really fun series. And I've been talking to some other people today, and they were saying why can't we have this game more often? And I'm totally in the same boat.
We need
it's
to.
been a lot of
We're
fun.
so close. Yeah, we're so close.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but yeah, they always talk about conference realignment, and I'm like, man, but an easy switch is Georgia Tech and Florida State in the same division because, like I just mentioned, we are the closest geographical division rivals in the ACC for Florida State at least. Obviously, you have the Carolina Triangle, but yeah, I mean, it's a game I would love to see more often. I love when we play Georgia Tech. Obviously, had a lot of heartbreak since I've been involved in this rivalry as a student. Unfortunately, I wasn't athletically gifted like Freddie. He got to play in the rivalry, and he played in a few of those games that we just. But yeah, man, I'm excited for this weekend. Football's back, and I just hope both teams, play injury-free game. It sounds cliche, but I like our chances. But I'd be lying if I said I felt overly confident.
If you thought what?
I said I'd like our chances, but I'd be lying if I said I felt overly confident in this one.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I was as the summer went on, and I was like, "Is this a good idea or not to play?" But I think the fact that the testing has been ramped up, I think gives me a little more kind of, I guess, assurance that this won't be, a disaster, and actually it could be pretty good. And just the fact that I think obviously that everybody's so ready, like you're saying, to watch football and to have that back in their lives. So I'm really looking forward to that part and writing about teams and games and players as opposed to positivity rate and things like that.
Definitely better. Yeah. We're gonna cuss Richie out as soon as he gets off here, bringing up all those bad memories, bro. Like that's a terrible omen before right before the game. Like you were talking about, even that 2012 wasn't too bad, but I was in Charlotte for that 2014 game. Even that one was stressful, man. Like we couldn't get a stop. We couldn't get a stop.
Freddie played in that game. There we go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Freddie, I have to ask, what do you remember from that game, man? You're starting fullback.
It was back and forth. I'm gonna post a Throwback Thursday picture tonight for the game, but yeah, it was back and forth, man. They like I was saying to them earlier, they always play us tough. Like the next year, even when they were on that 5-game losing streak, we knew like, man, for some reason Georgia Tech, whenever we're in the building, they play us harder than they play anybody else. So we know this isn't going to be a 5-loss team when we come in tonight. And no matter what the record was last year, I expect them to come out ready tomorrow, and they're going to be firing on all cylinders. Even if they have a few kinks to iron out, they know they're playing Florida State. And even though we had a few bad years, teams still look at us like Florida State based off the history. So they're going to come in ready. They want to make a name off us early in the season to show the world that, okay, Georgia Tech is going to take that next step. And we got to be able to rise to that challenge. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, Kim, we appreciate it. Appreciate your time so much. Thanks for
sure.
Thanks for hanging out tonight. Again, Ken Sugiura
my pleasure.
Of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. You follow him on Twitter, KSUGIURAAJC. First initial, last name, Atlanta Journal-Constitution. So thanks again so much for hanging out. I would say good luck. I wouldn't mean it. So hopefully it's just a good game, injury-free. But good luck. You need to go find Guthrie's. Go find Guthrie's wherever it is.
I'm glad we brought it back.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I'm excited for the game. I'm glad we could get Ken on. What are you guys thinking? Do you feel better about the game, worse about the game, about the same about the game as after his interview?
I'm the same. Going into this game, I was fairly confident. I felt like they'll come out and kind of challenge us early. We got a new team, new coaches. They'll come out and challenge us early. But I think that talent and that depth start showing later on in the game, and we'll win convincingly.
Yeah, man. So we over at Knoll Game Day. So I do some, contributing writing over there, and we had to get our score predictions in this morning. So I had to think about it because I'm like, I don't want to write them one more and then say another one tonight. My score prediction, we'll get to it. It's going to be closer than I thought it would be waking up this morning. I think I'm still a little scarred from some of those brutal losses, but man, I'm excited. I thought Ken was great. He was able to confirm some things that I thought, also drop some new information on us. Hopefully our listeners learn some new things about Georgia Tech and they know what to look for now. But I'm just excited, man. But at this point, let's just kick it off. Like, why can't we play tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta have your appetizer first, bro. You gotta watch
Right.
my UAB come out and shock the world. So
I'm trying to
probably
find
not.
the game. It ain't on TV.
I was gonna say somebody said it was this week's Versus, and we were gonna stream it on the Big Three Instagram live. Shout out my guy Dro that actually just tweeted me that like 10 minutes ago. But pretty good question here. Let's answer this question, and then we'll jump into kind of the rest of the outline and get out of here so you guys can watch that the Miami UAB game, and LeBron's on and a million other things. So NFL, like Richie said,
good sports night. Yeah,
it is all starting with us.
NHL, everything.
Yeah. How many points does FSU have to score for you guys to be confident we'll win? Same question for Georgia Tech. I know that kind of bleeds into our score predictions, but just what is the – well, not really. What's the minimum number of points we have to score for you guys to think we're going to win?
21.
Yeah.
21. So you don't have Georgia Tech going over that. Freddie?
Yeah, 21 without a doubt. With this defense, I think all we need to score is 21.
So my gut said 24. So I'm kind of right in there in line with you guys. So that was from Ray. Thanks. Ray tunes in every week. He's got the top fan badge here on Facebook. So
okay.
Appreciate your support,
Appreciate
Ray.
him. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So all right, let's jump into it. Richie, you put the outline together, so I'll let you go from here. Oh, you know what? No, I'm sorry, I lied. We launched a Patreon a week and a half ago. We've got a bunch of supporters on there. We are going to be hanging out in there heavy on Saturday. Yes. We are live chatting through the game. So don't be coming on the timeline looking for my funny, witty tweets. We're going to be in the Patreon Discord. So go to patreon.com/doublefriespod and chat with Freddie, Richie, Harlan, Brian, Ed, all those guys that are helping us out on Saturday. May have some other FSU former players hopping in and out as well. Patreon.com/doublefriespod. Also, if you're watching this, go hit the share button right now. Hit share, like, retweet, comment on it, tag a couple friends. We've got about 25 more minutes, and then we're going to get off of here so you guys can watch the UAB game. And so help us spread the word while you.
I'm watching the Chiefs and Texans. I know UAB is going to win. I don't need to watch that.
I'll take it. So, all right. Now this time I really am good to go. What you got, Richie?
All right. So, I think the biggest thing, especially being game week, let's jump into the depth chart. We'll start on the offense. I don't think we don't need to spend any time on the quarterback because we've talked about that the past few shows. I think James Blackman's our guy. That's who we have. I think we're all supportive. We're all excited about him to see what growth he does make. So really pumped about that. To me, there were two things that stood out to me, and I'll go with number one. Warren Thompson listed as a starting receiver opposite Tamari and Terry. 3 weeks ago, I feel like we did 5 shows in 1 week all around this topic of Warren Thompson. There's a point I didn't think he's going to play another snap at Florida State, but clearly it was a miscommunication. I think he went about it the wrong way. I think Mike Norvell was upset, but also understood where he was coming from. So it was kind of that, middle ground situation. But at the same time, to see him starting on the depth chart with a pretty talented group, I think our receivers are somewhat underrated heading into the season. But to see him starting, that gets me excited because we know what we have with Tamari and Terry on the one side. When you got another 6'4" plus guy that moves like the wind and has that body control, that gets me excited because I think he's a really good player, full of untapped potential. What did you guys think when you saw him not just from the player he could be, but we discussed this. We don't need to recap it, but we had a situation on social media a few weeks ago. So Freddie, what were your thoughts? I think we're all happy for him and hope the best, but were you surprised to see he earned a starting job so quickly?
Nah, you don't let talent like that stay for no reason. They were not gonna let him leave. I saw it when he came in. He's gifted, and I believe he's a guy with Terry having all that focus. He can have a breakout year.
Yeah.
And my bold prediction for week 1 is that he's gonna have more yards than Terry. Like, this guy's special, and I think he's gonna take this receiving core to the next level.
Damn. I like that.
I like it. Yeah, I was.
like that.
I mean, yeah, I'm all with it. I know Freddie's been hinting on social media. Warren might be the breakout guy and different things like that. Like, I am all for it, because I was so upset when we did have those 5 shows in 1 week, because I do believe in his talent. And then you throw in the fact that it's like DJ Matthews as well, which, not super surprising, and Terry, and you're just like, man, our whole wide receiver room just went to nothing. So yeah, having him there and Terry, I mean, I'm super excited. And I like Freddie's prediction, man. I mean, guys are going to double Terry a lot this year.
I think that's a good prediction.
Yeah, guys are going to double Terry.
Yeah.
And he's going to get the focus, man. I wouldn't be shocked if Terry's not. Well, I mean, his numbers are going to be down because we played 2 less, or a game less. But wouldn't be shocked if Terry's numbers aren't as good with the attention that he's going to get. But that's going to open the door for some of these other guys for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And then the other surprise for me was on the offensive line. So from left to right, here's who we have starting. Let's see here. We have Darius Washington at left tackle. That Dante Lucas moving from right guard to left guard. And then Maurice Smith, he's a redshirt freshman from Miami. He wins his starting job at center. And he had Bavian Johnson, who I think's been here for 4 years now, maybe 5. And then Andrew Baselli, a walk-on now scholarship player. He was kind of Maurice Smith was kind of like the forgotten guy in that. And he came out on top of the depth chart. So I think that's pretty big. Then they moved Bavian Johnson to the right guard. And then Devontae Love-Taylor, the transfer from FIU, undefeated against Miami in his career. He is our starting right tackle. So I thought that's a pretty big shakeup from what we had last year when we started. I like the changeup, though. I like Maurice Smith. Apparently, Norvell, Kenny Dillingham, Coach Atkins, they saw something and said, hey, let's put him here. Maybe Bavion. Maybe he's a really good interior lineman, but he's not great at pre-snap reads and snapping the ball. So let's take that away from him and just let him focus on what he does best. I feel really good about the starting 5. I know that's going to make a lot of Florida State fans scream right now as they hear that, because of how bad the offensive line has been in the public eye for so long. But that starting 5, I feel really good about. And then the few backups, we'll go from there. But what do you guys think about the starting 5 on the O-line?
I mean, it's the kid Maurice Smith taking that spot at center. That's impressive.
Yep.
Not only because he beat Bavion. Now we know, just me from personal experience, I know how Bayvion's an athletic freak, and a lot of guys don't know about Baselli, but he's probably the smartest player I ever played with. So when you're talking about pre-snap reads and getting guys lined up and making sure we're making the right plays on offense, that's your guy. So he just beat out one of the smartest guys in FSU O-line history, and then one of the most athletic O-linemen we got, and they switched him to right guard, which I think is better suited for him, because I think those pre-snap reads, as you attested to, were kind of tough on him. O-line, center especially, is one of the toughest positions to play in football. So I think that's a great move they made, and I'm excited to see how it pans out on Saturday.
Freddie's got me pumped. Like, our whole line's going to be awesome.
I mean, Baby can play. That's the reason they kept trying to find ways for him to get on the field despite all the pre-snap. He can play. Yeah. So putting him in that spot would be major.
There's a reason he's on his 4th coaching staff, and he's still in the starting lineup. Exactly. Clearly, there's something there. If they can find it, I'm excited, man. TJ, where are you at?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, I don't have you guys' confidence until I see it, but that's probably just because I'm so scarred from the last – Freddie, you had to run behind, I mean, we haven't had a really good offensive line in a long time. And so, but I believe, I don't know, I'm cautiously optimistic. I agree with the talent there. It's just, can we put it all together? I don't expect perfection. I just a little bit of progress. Man, that's coach speak, but a little bit of progress each week. I didn't even plan that, so that just makes me feel awful.
You wrote that down.
No, I didn't. I didn't at all. Not a Thursday night. I write my jokes down on Sundays, but a little bit of progress each week, and let's see continuity. And yeah, but you guys do have me kind of excited. I'm not there with you just yet, but I might be by about halftime. We'll see.
I feel really good about our starting five compared to recent years. If we have a solid, 8 guys, that makes me really feel good about the season. But we'll cross that bridge as we go there, because there's a lot of different factors. The last thing on the offense shouldn't be a surprise. Ja'Shawn Corbin, LaDavian Webb, both listed as co-starters at running back. I think Corbin's probably going to get the bulk of the carries, but you're going to see Webb. You're going to see Ja'Kai Douglas. I think you're going to see Lawrence Toafili, who not on the depth chart, but he did his name came out a lot out of Kenny Dillingham and Mike Norvell's mouth for his performance this fall camp. So that kind of rounds out the running back room and the offensive depth chart. So as a whole, how do you guys feel about the offense right now? I mean, I know we don't expect them to go out and drop, 50 points a game, but what would you consider a successful offense this season as far as just sustaining drives, being able to run a 4-minute drill, things along those lines?
I think the biggest thing for me that dictates everything else is getting that run game going. I was watching a little bit of the Memphis film the other day, and the guy Norvell had last year, I think he's with the Redskins now, Antonio Gibson. I mean, he had a great year. So us getting that run game going with the receivers that we got, punching people in the mouth with the run game, dictating the game with the run game, it's going to be hard to stop us, because once guys get introduced to Warren Thompson and they got to take a little pressure off Scary Terry, it's going to get tough for defenses. So us getting that run game going is going to be crucial.
Yeah, again, I'm kind of the same place in the offense that I am with the offensive line, right? Like I don't expect the offense to just come out absolutely firing and killing it week one. But if we can see progress throughout the year, then I'll feel great, right? The best Florida State's offense looked last year was the first half of the first game, and never looked great after that, right? Like just ran into some bad teams and so scored more in some different games. But yeah, I expect it to be a progression. I'm big on, I'm big on Norvell's system. I was not on the Blackman train at all after the Arizona State game, but I'm back on now, and I think that,
welcome aboard.
We're running out of chances for him to get it successful. But if you can't get under Norvell, then I just don't know that it's going to happen. I'm willing to kind of give him a free pass on the last 2 years, and of course his true freshman year as well. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm kind of the same way there. I'm so much in wait and see mode, but it's a very, very cautious optimism for sure.
And the last thing I'll mention there, I do think Norvell is going to be more of a conscious head coach in terms of thinking about the offense complementing the defense. Kendall Browse last year, I don't think we could have made a better hire. I thought that was an amazing move by Willie Taggart, by, David Coburn, John Thrasher, getting him in here despite the controversy, because we got an offensive mastermind. But he had a one-way, thought of mind. I'm going to go as fast as I can, score as many points as I can. I don't give a damn about the defense and how many plays they have to run. I'm going to worry about the offense. I do think Mike Norvell if he sees the game going in a way where Florida State gets an early lead, I could see him being more like that Jimbo mindset. Let me slow things down and shorten the game a little bit, because we don't need to run 85 plays to win this game. We can run 70 plays and win this game, because we know me and Freddie been beating that drum, man. That defense, we're sold on it. So I do think that's a big thing, and I'm excited to see how that works. On the defensive side of the depth chart, to me, the biggest thing I wrote down, Jerrion Jones, the Mississippi State transfer, he beats out Akeem Dent for the starting job opposite of Asante Samuel at cornerback. I thought Dent was amazing last year. He just couldn't catch the ball. He probably dropped 3 or 4 pick sixes, but he still had the pass breakups. He was still there on every play. Now you have a sophomore come in from Mississippi State, and he jumps him on the depth chart. For me, one, that shows Norvell, Adam Fuller, they have no loyalty to anybody. They're going to play the best players they can find. And 2, I think Jerry Jones might be really freaking good, guys. Like he jumped Akeem Dent, who I think we all believe is going to be an NFL player for many years. So what are your thoughts on the defensive backfield as far as that goes?
Yeah, we got a lot of depth on
Yes,
defense
it's
in general.
ridiculous.
Like every position, we finally got some depth at linebacker.
Yeah.
I'm excited just hearing that deal with Akeem Dent and just seeing Norvell's interview the other day. He doesn't have any ties to any players that played in the past. There's a standard here, and if you want to get on that field, you're going to have to be playing to the level of football that he wants you to play to. So you can be playing this week and not playing next week. So seeing a guy on that roster starting out this season, we know he's the best guy that we have heading into game one. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, if there's anything that I am confident in, I mean, it's the defense, especially the defensive backfield, because the depth there is just incredible. So yeah, I'm all about it. I think that that's kind of what gives me the confidence, and we'll get to predictions here in a minute, but that's kind of what gives me the confidence in FSU, because I know the offense will take a little time to get going, is that, that back end, that defensive backfield.
Yeah, and then the last thing on the depth chart I have, special teams. John, I think you pronounce it Papachos. I'm going to butcher that. That's fine. But we all know who the special teams coordinator is. Anyways, the special teams depth chart is littered with ors. So we don't know who's starting anywhere. It's just or. But one thing that does excite me, redshirt freshman Travis J, who never would have redshirted last year. He's listed everywhere on defense and special teams. I think he's going to be returning kicks. He's going to return punts. He's going to play strong safety, free safety. But on special teams, he's the name that stands out because he's listed everywhere. I really like him returning kicks and punts. Jashawn Corbin returned a kick for a touchdown at Texas A&M in his first ever ACC or SEC game against Arkansas. LaDamian Webb's he's a speedster. He's listed it there. So we don't really know what's going on. So we're not going to try and break it down too much. But my guy, and we'll get into this later, Alex Mastronamo, the kicker from Australia, guys, he continues to impress. And I have a question for y'all later on him. But anything on special teams y'all want to add? That, again, we don't know who's starting really, so I don't want to, go too in depth on it.
I don't have a ton there. Yeah,
I think is hearing Travis J as a returner possibly on special teams, like that's impressive. When you got your defensive backs all over the field like that, and he's returning kicks. All I hear is ball skills. So, hey, I've been hearing nothing but great reviews about him in the offseason. I'm kind of excited about seeing him in action on Saturday, too.
Yeah, man, I'm pumped for him. And then let's get right into Saturday. We had Ken from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution on. He was great, I thought. So kickoff 3:30 ABC. Looks like we got a high of 88, a 60% chance of rain. We'll see what that does for the game. But last week, Florida State ran through a situational mock game instead of doing an actual final scrimmage. And I really liked what I heard from Coach Norvell. He said they went through 50 plus scenarios of anything that could potentially happen during the game, from one guy cramping up, having to run off the field, to two guys cramping up, having to run off the field. Later, we heard Kenny Dillingham, our offensive coordinator, mention, he went through, there's a new rule in the NCAA this year where if a rain delay extends a certain amount of minutes, you lose halftime, and how they're going to handle that. And now he doesn't think many coaches in the country are handling that the way Mike Norvell does, because the odds of that happening are so low. But he said Norvell is obsessed with every single scenario and possibility of what could happen, that he wants to be prepared. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Because this is not a Bash Willie Taggart podcast. This is not a Bashful Jimbo Fisher 2017 podcast, but we have not seen a real attention to detail with every aspect of the program for a while. And it seems, at least what we're hearing, so we have to add that caveat that we're hearing Norvell is all about the details. And for me, that gets me excited, because that is a huge deal. Freddie, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't know about the 27 Jimbo. I played with 2016 Jimbo. And I know that Jimbo, he was attention to detail. I mean, that's the formula for success. Elite coaches, the smallest details, that's what they pay attention to, because the smallest detail will be the reason you win the game when you're playing in these big games. So, I mean, I'm glad to hear it. And that situation with halftime, I would love to say Jimbo is that detailed, but that's different. I think we're gonna catch a lot of teams slipping with that if it comes up.
Give me all the lightning delays. Give me all the lightning delays this year.
Nobody's preparing for that, to be honest with you, at all.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, you love that, right? Especially again, we're not here to bash anybody else, but just it's a stark opposite from the previous regime, from the last coach that Florida State had, who really struggled with the details. And that's not just like, oh, he wasn't successful, so we're crapping on him now. I mean, a lot of national guys have said that. I've been on air a lot with Chris Landry, who said that was a problem at Oregon, it was a problem at USF, and obviously translated over to being a problem at Florida State too. So yeah, massive that Norvell is that detail oriented. Obviously, you want to not go so overboard that you're not overbearing on players, right? Like I understand it's college football, but kids are just built different, not in the best way these days. But I mean, I think Norvell does a good job of balancing that with the relationships, and you could kind of see that from how the guys go to bat for him and stuff like that. And so I don't think that's an issue at all. But yeah, it's like a minor thing to get excited about, but definitely something that we're all excited about for sure.
Yeah, and then so the last two minor things, and we can go rapid fire on these two because I don't think they're a big deal. We talked about it with Ken. Georgia Tech does not release a depth chart. They just say who's ready to play and who doesn't, who's not ready to play based on their practice. They call it the above the line. Mike Norvell was asked about that. He said, what do you think? They didn't release a depth chart. And I loved his answer. He said, I don't care. Like, end of the day, they put 11 guys on the field. We put up 11 guys on the field. Again, not maybe newsworthy to the extent, but the response is there. That's a head coach that can read the room. He's someone who's like, I get it. I know where you're coming from, but I'm going to give the right answer, and my team's going to be prepared. And the last thing was this will be disappointing. Let me set a stage for you guys. Florida State is playing a FBS competition school in 2018. They're losing in the second half. They get an interception. They bring out the turnover backpack. That's not going to happen this year because Mike Norvell said there will be no turnover props this year. And to be fair, if the turnover backpack made its appearance week 1 against Virginia Tech with a pick 6 to open the game, we all would have loved it, right? But it made its appearance at the worst possible time in the Willie Tiger area. But again, no turnover props. I like that. I'm with TJ. I think Miami's turnover chain was awesome in year 1. It's kind of lost its luster. But any thoughts on anything around that, around the turnover props, or Norvell's thoughts of not worrying about the depth chart, just focusing on what Florida State has to focus on?
Yeah, I think we're all going to agree with you on both points, right? Like, I'm glad the backpack's gone. And I agree with Norvell. I mean, at the end of the day, I know that we haven't been what we were.
No, this is Florida State, TJ. This is Florida State,
man. Like, this is not about what anybody else does. If we do what we do well, then that's it, And I mean, that goes for all. It goes for 10 out of the 11 games on the schedule, right? Like, if we do what we need to do, we're going to win 10 out of 11 games, right? Now, I'm not predicting that. I've still got us going 7 or 8 wins, but the only game that doesn't matter in is Clemson. That's just because if they do what they need to do, they're the same thing, and it's against anybody in the country, Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Georgia, it doesn't matter. But I mean, this is not like, oh man, cry about somebody. I mean, like you said, he read the room well. This is not cry about some. Nobody wants to hear a Florida State coach cry about somebody else's depth chart. So yeah, he answered that perfectly. Everybody loved that answer. And again, I think he believes it. I don't care what Georgia Tech's depth chart is. I mean, they're the worst team in the ACC. No offense to Ken, but Ken seemed like a great guy. But they suck, man. Like, no, get out there and play your butts off and let's go. Who cares who they start and don't start? So, and then yeah, Miami's turnover chain was great to start. It's corny now because they stink, but it was really good that year. They won 10 games. So, I'm
not gonna lie, man. When they beat Notre Dame with all those turnovers, I'm like, God, that turnover chain. God,
it was pretty lit, man. Like, there's stuff. We make the empty stadium jokes, but that stadium was full. Place was rocking. I mean, I remember that game on that Saturday night. They got up to number 2 in the country, 3 in the country. I mean, that was fun. That was a ton of fun. Just as a neutral college football fan, I hate for them to have nice things, but Anyway, those are my two thoughts on those things. Freddie?
I agree with the depth chart deal. It doesn't matter who they line up. We still got to play. We got to be prepared to play. Florida State, when we play the way we play, it doesn't matter who's in the game.
Yep.
But as far as the book bag, I'm finna say what everybody wanted to say as soon as it came out. Why do we even have this book bag? Like, what are we finna go on a 30-mile hike? This big ass book bag on that back. What are we doing? And
I love that we have the former player calling out the backpack more than anybody right now.
It pissed me off because that's the year Miami, or the year after, I don't know. They did the whole turnover chain thing, and it's like this was a rival, and you're trying to copy the same swag they had, and I hated it. And I know a lot of people. Listen, you seen Miami fans in the stands with the chain on. I don't think you saw a fan bringing a big ass book bag in the Florida State game. Hey. But yeah, I'm glad
Absolutely
it's gone.
Embarrassing. And like you said, the timing of it could not have been worse, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
You're losing to a team that you should be beaten by 40, and when they brought that out, man, I'm just like,
when you're losing.
Dude, I remember Kara looked at me, my wife looked at me and said, "What is this? Like, what are they doing?" Oh my gosh, this is talking about national. Obviously, it was just
man. It was red.
Oh, it was like red. It was designer. All right, I'm depressed again talking about this. I got Richie bringing up 2015 Georgia Tech and the turnover back.
We are cleansing all the negative memories, and then come our instant reaction show Saturday night around 8:30 p.m. It's going to be all good vibes here, so we'll be in good shape.
You're right, but let's get off this bad stuff now.
All right, so that pretty much covers the Florida State talk. But what we do have, we have a couple fun things. For Patreon members, we talked about it earlier. Any level will get you this. We're going to do a weekly pick 'em. And this week it's only 5 games, so you have a good chance of winning because we have a fewer amount of Patreons right now being early in the season, and it's only 5 games. Because once the season gets rolling, when the SEC jumps in, the Big 12, when this whole thing gets rolling, we're looking at probably 10 games a week with up to 100 people per. So it'll be fun. But I don't know if you guys have entered yours on the actual website yet. But whatever you say tonight is what you have to enter in your CBS Pick'em. And I hope you already entered your Miami game because that one starts in a few minutes and that game's on our docket. So I'm going to start with Freddie. We're going to go. We have 5 games. We're picking against the spread. I don't believe in picking straight up because everybody's 80, 90%. It's no fun. We're picking against the spread where if you're 55%, you're a genius. Freddie. And these spreads are from like Tuesday because we go from CBS. So if you're listening tonight and you're going right to Bovada like I would do to do your live betting, and the spread's a lot different, don't get mad at us. This is from CBS's Pick'em. We do not have any influence on them yet. We will soon, not yet. So we'll start UAB. They're at Miami. At the time the spread came out, Miami was only favored by 13.5. So Freddie and TJ, what do you guys think?
Are you keeping track of this, or am I writing these down? Like who picks what? Oh, it's whatever we picked on our thing, so it's good. Yeah. I got Miami.
Don't pick someone on here and then the other team on the spread because you're gonna throw me off.
I got Miami.
Miami covering the 13.5. What do you think, Freddie?
Yeah, must want to go against Miami. I think they'll cover.
Yeah, it hits different. Like the trolls are one thing, but then you're like, I don't want to lose. Like I want to be a loser to like.
So I'll say this.
Like I'll pick it right.
I'll say this. This is from our official Patreon weekly college football pick'em. That's we'll do every single week. So whatever number they offer, that's what we're going with regardless. Based on the 13.5, I'm taking Miami to cover. If you're betting right now, if you're live watching, it's at 15.5 points. Take UAB right now and thank me later. All right, Syracuse, 22.5 point dogs at North Carolina. Who are you going with, TJ?
I got to look because I wrote mine down too, and I don't want to pick the wrong thing. I am taking – man, that's a lot of points. I have – Syracuse is dog crap, but I'm taking Q's. I'm taking Syracuse.
All right. Freddie, who you got there?
I'm taking North Carolina.
All right. I took Syracuse as well. I just think that's a lot of points for week 1. This next one, I hope I'm wrong, but I think we're all on the same page here. You got Notre Dame favored by 20.5 against Duke in South Bend. Give me Notre Dame.
Yeah, I'll take the Catholics in this one.
Yeah, same here.
All right. So this one was tricky for me. Clemson's favored by 32.5 at Wake Forest. I'm taking Wake Forest. That's a big number, isn't it?
Massive number. Give me Clemson.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm in the second half. They may start. Oh yeah. Nah. Clemson got a dog back there. All right, they got some dogs on that second team. I'm taking Clemson.
Oh, man. All right. So I hope I can get one up on both of you guys from that one. And then the last one, I don't want a point prediction because we'll get to it, but obviously we got to talk Georgia Tech, Florida State. Florida State favored by 12.5. Freddie, where you're at?
I like Florida State.
Okay.
Yeah, roll Tribe on this one. Go Noles. We cover the spread.
All right. So I also have Florida State covering, but I do not feel good about this at all. I feel really good about another bet in this game, and we're going to get to it because we're going to do a weekly over-unders. So we have, we're a Florida State podcast. We're going to do Florida State specific things. This is all from the Super Producer Sportsbook with the exception of one. I made up random numbers for random stats just because TJ and Freddie, they let me do this. So I'm like, guys, we're going to pick these numbers. You have to, if you want to or not. So they'll start with the first one, James Blackman, total touchdowns, 3.5, over under rushing, passing, fake punts, fake field goals, interception, pick six. You tell me, James Blackman.
I got under 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah, I got under. I had him at 3.
All right. I'm going to take over. I think he runs one in, and I think he throws for 4. That contradicts with something else I'm going to say later. So I'm taking the under. I'm officially taking the under. Just because I realized what I did wrong there. Anyways, the next one, I think it's a good one here. Tomorrow.
You're taking the under there, by the way. I'm writing.
Yeah. So we're all taking the under on this one.
Okay.
Just because I think Blackman has a really good game, but I think we struggle in the red zone. I don't know why. That's just a gut feeling. So that's why I'm going there. The next one, Tamara and Terry, over under 94.5 yards receiving.
Under.
Freddie. Under?
Under.
Okay. TJ.
I'm going over here. I think he gets one long one and gets over.
I agree with TJ that he gets a long one, but I'm going to take the under just because I think it's game 1. I think it's going to be sloppy, 60% chance of rain.
Dude, that's a massive amount of yards. That's terrible for me to take that over because if Bovada was offering that, it'd be like at 67. I'm just a homer. So
this is the Barn Sports Book.
Life's too short for unders.
So me and Freddie are going under on this one.
All right.
So here you go, the next one. So Florida State team sacks for the positive, so not sacks allowed. I put it at 3.5. So I'll start this one so I don't give it to one of y'all. I think we get to over. I think I'm buying the Josh Kando hype. I don't believe in Georgia Tech's offensive line that much. And I think our interior is good for 2 sacks alone between Cooper, Wilson, Durden, and Lovett. Man, give me the over. I'm done.
Yeah, I've been seeing all these different stories about defense all off season. We know what we got coming back. So if we don't get over, I'm going back to all these reporters that said y'all lied to me and y'all lost me some damn money. So we better get over.
Love it.
I'm going to take the under just to try and pick up a point here.
Right. No, that's a good pick. I
think it's going to be close. Like I could see it being 3, but that'd be 1 a quarter, and that'd be really good. And I hope I'm wrong, but I'm going under here.
All right. So we have 2 more here. So for those listening, and this is actually the first time that TJ and Freddie and Harlan and all of our behind the scenes people are going to hear this. I'm only going to do 5 of these a game for over under because I have to make them up and I have to try and make them reasonable. This one, none of us should have a clue because we don't know, but I'm all in on Florida State special teams. I said it the past few podcasts. I think the Aussie from Australia, Alex Mastromano, is going to be a huge part of this team this year. 43.5 yards per punt. Give me the over. What do you guys think?
If we get that rain that's projected to come in,
I didn't think about that.
That's gonna be kind of tough. So I'm gonna go under on this one.
Okay.
gonna go under as well. Just college punters. Hopefully he doesn't punt once, and if that's the case, Freddie and I win. But yeah, I'm going under as well.
So a big part of that was for me. I don't think Norvell's going to punt at like 4th and 2 from the 37. I think he's going to go for it. So hopefully that helps me. And we'll see. And the last one, this is from Bovada, so I did not make this up. Florida State total points for the game, 34.5. And we'll right from this into our score predictions. Over under 34.5 points. Freddie, where you at?
I got us under.
Okay. TJ,
I think I'm going under as well.
All right, so you got the trifecta of unders. Who wants to go first on score prediction?
Let me give you guys the off-air talents predictions on scores.
Yeah, let's start.
I got Ed Kennedy's got us hitting the over 37-13. Okay. Sorry. UAB is in Miami territory, driving on a big 3rd and 5. Cross the 50.
Hey,
that's my Blazers.
Is it on TV or something?
It's not on TV.
Instagram Live on my other laptop. I just have it on my laptop. We'll see. Ed Kennedy has his 37-13 win, and Brian Hathaway, our graphics guy, 24-10, and Harlan Harris are helping a lot with like our streaming and setting that up and stuff, doing the intros for the streaming and all that. He has us 35-10. I think I have. I'll go
real
first.
Quick, TJ. Real quick on that note. Thank you to all you guys like that TJ just mentioned. Like we have a lot of people behind the scenes that you would not expect from a small podcast. They're doing amazing work, and I didn't realize what I was getting into. TJ brought a whole militia with him here. He's like, I got this thing. I got graphics. I got online. I got social. I got everything. Don't worry about it. So to Harlan, Brian, Ed, whoever I'm forgetting behind the scenes, those guys have been killing it, and we're starting the season. Shout out to all of them.
Yeah, it would be really, really tough to do and bring you guys the content that we have brought so far without them. So we don't tell you guys thank you enough, but here's an on-air thank you that thousands of people get to hear. So there's a bigger shout out than we give you in the group chat.
Now give me your Patreon paycheck.
Definitely appreciate y'all. We got the best team in the game right now. We started it off hard, and we only going to continue to grow. We appreciate all the support, and just know we got a great team behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
So
back to this pick. What do we got here?
Yeah, I've got us getting close to that over-under, or that total points. I've got us at like 31. Let's go 31-14. 31-14.
I don't know if it hits the current under, but it hits the under that was at the start of this podcast.
I'm going to go with 27-10.
So I went with, I think the under's an easy bet here. I don't see 54 points between the two teams. I went with 26-13. I think Florida State covers barely. If we don't cover, I won't be surprised, but I would be surprised if the over hit. So give me Florida State 26. They beat Georgia Tech by 2 touchdowns, 26-13. We hit the under. We all make our money. We go have some fun. We all betted on Tom Brady to beat Drew Brees on Sunday.
I didn't bet on that.
That's good. Well, that's because you still have hope that Jameis is going to start for the Saints. That's the only reason you're not picking Tampa Bay right now. But no, I would love to see Jameis Sunday. So before we get out of here, let's talk a little NFL. We got a minute. Because we're all Bucs fans here. What are your predictions? So I thought about this day on the way home. I heard I think it was Big Three actually. They were talking about their NFL predictions. I think the Bucs are. I think 11-5, 12-4 is a good number, and I'm kind of with our guy Anthony Beck, who was with on our podcast a few weeks ago. I think we can go to the Super Bowl, and from there, who knows? What do you guys think for the NFL this year?
I don't know. I'm a Bucs guy, but at the same time, I'm a Jameis guy. So I want to.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Part of me wants to see the Bucs do well, but I want to see Jameis get in the game and kind of bust that ass a little bit.
I think a lot of Florida State fans would actually love that if Jameis just went in the game and went off like 400 yards out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Bucks schedule sets up really, really well for them. I think that the toughest game on the schedule is the Chiefs. I know that in the NFL nothing's really an auto loss, but let's just say that's an auto loss. The second toughest game on the schedule to me is in 3 days, right? It's the game at New Orleans.
Yeah,
and I don't think that's super, super tough. Like I think that they can win that game. The Evans injury worries me a little bit. I don't. If he doesn't play, then you're taking away one of Brady's top weapons. The first DB can cover Godwin, and that makes things a little tougher. I don't really know where Gronk is at, and also the new system and everything. Like, so I'm picking the Saints to win that game for a few reasons there. But I think the Bucks can win, like I said, 14 of the next 15 games on their schedule. Now they won't because it's the NFL and other teams are good too.
So are you on the Saints -3.5?
I mean, if I would take the Saints,
that's a great spread. That's a great spread.
At home, I like it. I like them to cover the 3.5 because I'm picking them to win anyway. So I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna kind of double dip. But
I
like the Bucks to cover.
Covered against the spread in New Orleans for like the past 4 years, right?
Well, if we're on your Super Bowl train, the Bucks are going to lose Week 1, and then and then win the rest of their games. Like they did in 2002. So now I've got the Bucks losing. I don't know if I have the Bucks in the Super Bowl. What I will say is I think the NFC is incredibly deep, but not so top heavy like the AFC is, right?
Correct.
Like the AFC, it's easy to make the playoffs, but you're not going to beat, the Chiefs or the Ravens or, the Patriots last year or whatever. So I don't know if I have the Bucks in the Super Bowl or not, because I think that there are just a lot of above average teams in the NFC. And so it's tough to say like, oh yeah, they'll absolutely be better than the Saints and the 49ers and the Seahawks and all these other teams. But I mean, I think they'll be there. I think they'll be neck and neck with the Saints. I think the Saints win the division, but the Bucks get in like a game behind them, win the wild card game. And then when it's like 4 teams left in the NFC, I mean, you've got Tom Brady and anything could happen. So I expect the Bucks to do well. I'm not predicting Super Bowl like Richie just yet.
All right, so I need to know. He's on mute, but Harlan, who's your NFL team? Who's your NFL team, Harlan? Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right, my NFL team is the Bucks, but
so even better because I thought he's been here for the past hour with us. I need his prediction on air as well. We can give it to him. What's it going to be?
So Bucks. Sorry, I've been running everything in the background. The prediction is
doesn't
for
matter.
Bucks and who?
No excuses. No excuses.
Bucks
give me the prediction.
It's Bucks and who?
No, I need a Bucks season prediction.
Oh, a record prediction.
So we're going to beat the Saints, and then what's the record after that?
I'll be honest. I've been a Brady fan my whole life.
Same.
I don't think they have a good season. I think it's about the same as last year with Jameis. I'll be honest.
So Harlan is no longer allowed to talk on the double fry, no slide.
You're the one that brought him on, bro.
I'm just being.
I expected better. I'm
just being honest.
TJ, give me a song.
I'm just being honest.
I'm kidding.
No, you're fine. We had a couple people ask about the Miami UAB game. We gave that. I forgot. We gave our.
We picked the spread on that. Yeah.
Picked the spread. So we all have Miami winning, but obviously we'd all like to be wrong there.
But if UAB wins that game, and we beat Georgia Tech, wait for Sunday.
I'm getting reckless. Oh no, I'm getting reckless Saturday, bro. We're not. Yeah, so let's plug our stuff.
Elite lies.
Yeah. Oh, that one.
So Saturday. Yeah. So Saturday.
Saturday we're gonna do a live. We're gonna do a live show immediately following the game, or within a few minutes. Like, let us get together on it. It's gonna be in our Discord app. And so come check it out. It'll just kind of be an instant reaction show. You can, we may have people jump in when we're just going to go with the flow, see who's there, see who's hanging out. But come hang out in our Discord. You can find that through our Patreon. You can find that on our Twitter account. If you just want to comment or DM me or the pod account or any of these guys, they'll give you a link to it. But definitely check that out. Check out our live reaction show. Hopefully you guys will enjoy that. And then jump in our Discord during the game on Saturday. I think we'll have a lot of fun talking about the game, answering any questions that you guys have. Freddie will be in there talking it up, and so we'll enjoy hanging out with you guys there. Appreciate the support on Patreon. Patreon.com /double fries pod. And it's really everything. Double Fries Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Hey, Facebook and Twitter have really taken off. Up over 1,000 likes and follows on both, right around 1,400 for both. But Instagram is a slow grind. So if you are on Instagram, go check us out. Double Fries Pod. Hit the like button or hit the follow button. Like some of our most recent posts so we help out with that algorithm, and let's roll from there. Other than that, man, that's all I got. Go Noles.
Sir, go Noles.
Richie, you hop out here. Your video cut. Richie I don't know what happened with Richie. Freddie, you got a song for us for game week? What was your? Well, let's take it back one time. What was your song that you like? What were you blaring in Pasadena? Like, what were you listening to back then? Richie, you live over there?
Yeah,
it's two songs that one of them y'all gonna hate to hear.
No,
it's two songs I had to listen to before every game. But y'all gotta realize this first song I say is different than it's swag surf, but it's different than the swag surf y'all thinking. It ain't the swag surf y'all thinking. It's the Lil Wayne.
It's the Lil Wayne No Ceilings.
Lil Wayne No Ceilings swag surf.
Yes.
And I had to listen to Lil Boosie Bankroll. Those two songs alone, and I'm ready for the game. Lil Wayne, that get me vibing, but Lil Boosie Bankroll, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to run through something a little bit after that Boosie Bankroll. But I'm
playing both.
After the Willie Taggart angle, Lil Boosie Bankroll, man.
No, Freddie, I'm a jump on board, man. That Lil Wayne, that No Ceilings, that came out my senior year in college.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you might have been a freshman, young. No, my senior 2010. You were still in high school. Damn, I'm old. But yeah, man, that whole album came out. That Death of Autotune on Lil Wayne, he talks about I'm going planners in my prime like Deion Sanders. Like, come on, man, you can't beat that.
Yeah, that Lil Wayne swag and of course, when people think swag surf, we got the bad memories of swag surf. But the real swag surf, once Lil Wayne hopped on that swag surf, that's the real swag surf.
That's when the Jimbo dynasty started. So we should embrace that, in my opinion.
I'm just glad we didn't tarnish Lil Wayne's reputation with his swag surf. I'm happy we did the other one.
No, I've seen pictures of Lil Wayne doing concerts in Tallahassee in a Dalvin Cook jersey. He's on board with us. Let's go.
Okay, I'm right with that.
I'm with it. So am I playing both of these or just one? Or I'll play both.
Just play the Lil Wayne swag surf.
Play Lil Wayne because they're
gonna hear the music. And they're gonna be like, oh, not this swag surf again. It's a new era, baby.
But that will be our transition from the Willie Taggart era to the Mike Norvell era. And if we beat Georgia Tech, we got to play Lil Wayne every week. Swag surfing, right?
We can't damage Lil Wayne name.
No. For me, he's my GOAT because I grew up in high school that 02 to college 2010. Wayne was the GOAT, man. There was no second.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Although I'm a big Eminem fan, so all right. On that note,
I am too. Yeah. Yeah, we got my wife's mad at me. I've been out here too long.
I told her 8:00. We're lying. So, all right, boys, go Noles. Let's get us a win. Go UAB. Go LeBron. I just saw him hit a nasty M1. So, all right, let's get out of here.
Yeah, we'll see y'all Sunday evening or Saturday evening. Excuse me.